Georgia made a wild decision to withdraw her entire life savings and, in her final moments, experience a life of unrestrained luxury. But at the very start of her story, she stumbled at the first step. On the plane, she had booked the cheapest economy seat. Before Georgia could even speak, the man in front of her beat her to the punch, complaining to the flight attendant. Without hearing both sides, the attendant actually told Georgia to just put up with it. In the past, she would have stayed silent. But today, she refused to be that submissive person any longer. She publicly called out the airline's greed. To maximize profits, the seats were packed as tightly as a train car. She had no desire to have a strange man practically in her lap for the entire flight. Other passengers chimed in with support, but the head flight attendant, looking annoyed, retorted sarcastically, "If you chose first class, you'd have a spacious cocoon seat, wouldn't you? How much for the damn cocoon?" Without a moment's hesitation, she swiped her card and upgraded on the spot. The moment she entered first class, the treatment was night and day. When the plane landed, snow was falling heavily, and a long line snaked from the taxi stand. Just then, an ad for a private helicopter caught her eye. Georgia didn't think twice, slapping down the cash to book one. For the first time in her life, she took a helicopter, arriving at the five-star hotel in just 30 minutes. Her grand entrance made even the hotel's most seasoned, celebrity-accustomed guests turn their heads, whispering about who this mysterious figure could be. But who could have guessed that the big-spending Georgia was, in reality, just an ordinary sales associate at a department store? She had worked hard for 20 years with an excellent record, yet her salary never budged. She pinched pennies and lived on coupons, all to save up for the dream she'd written in a notebook. She loved food, meticulously preparing gorgeous meals from her cookbooks every day, only to give them away to the neighbors' kids without taking a single bite. She herself would eat bland salads, all for the sake of so-called health. That all changed with a terminal diagnosis that gave her only 3 weeks to live. The final blow came when her insurance company refused to cover the $350,000 surgery fee, citing the policy's fine print. Regret and bitterness consumed her. Yet, from the ashes of her despair, courage quietly sprouted. She decided she would no longer waste her savings on a pointless surgery. She was going to live for herself, just once. The next day, she stormed into her boss's office, snatched the phone from his hand mid-call, and smashed it on the floor in a spectacular resignation speech, before turning and walking toward her new life without looking back. In that moment, she felt a freedom she had never known. Her colleague Sean, who'd had a crush on her for ages, ran after her and asked her to a game. In her old life, she would have been overjoyed, but now it was all too late. She gently turned him down, determined to complete her bucket list. And so, we come to the scene at the beginning of our story. She withdrew all her money and flew to her dream destination. There, she walked into luxury boutiques and bought out every design she'd ever wanted. At the hotel, she enjoyed a top-tier spa treatment before heading to the restaurant and ordering every single one of the executive chef's signature dishes, specifically requesting he prepare them himself. When the chef saw the order, his eyes lit up. He saw her as a true kindred spirit. Not only did he cook for her personally, but he came out to talk with her, feeling as though they should have met years ago as they chatted excitedly about food. This entire scene, however, was seen clearly by a guest at a neighboring table, the chairman of her former company. He seethed with jealousy. How dare a celebrity chef ignore him to fawn over some nobody? Furious, he immediately sent someone to investigate Georgia's background. Little did he know, this investigation would uncover a secret that would turn everyone's world upside down. A secret that would also completely rewrite Georgia's destiny. Want to know what happens next? Follow for more, and we'll continue the story in the next episode.